This Christmas, I was gifted a game by my friend called Detroit Become Human. Now, this is a game I've wanted to play for a long time. I've had it on my wish list for about a year, and I've kept my eye on it for quite a while as well. I remember watching Jacksepticeye play it a while back, and now I have the chance to play it. So the other day, I managed to sit down, and over 3 days, I did my first playthrough. It took me about 10 hours to beat. It wasn't too long. I spaced out my playthroughs quite a bit to play other games that I had purchased for myself over the winter sale and been gifted for Christmas. But I was pretty happy with my ending, other than the Kyra route, which we don't talk about. And ultimately, I just thought I'd give my thoughts and opinion on the game, how I found it. So to start off with, the performances are mostly phenomenal. There are a few here and there which feel a bit weak, but for the most part, the main cast is exceptional. Obviously, you can't critique some of them because some actors will have difficulty. For example, Alice's performance is quite a difficult one to achieve, so therefore it doesn't feel as strong as the other ones. But then you've got Connor and Hank, played by Brian Decker and Clancy Brown, who do a phenomenal job, and I really enjoy. Marcus, for the most part, is also great, along with the cast that surrounds him of Simon, North, and Josh. They are, for the most part, I think Marcus has a few dialogues where it feels a bit awkward, but it's an android, it's going to feel like that, so for the most part it's really good. The same with Kara, her performance is also great. Todd is really convincing, but yeah, for the most part, the performances are phenomenal. Another thing is the graphics are phenomenal. It looks amazing, especially considering the game came out, I think 2017, 2018? I think it'd be 2017. But yeah, phenomenal. Makes it really good to look at. The music. Yep, the music is phenomenal. I think John Puisano is one of the composers, which, if you don't know him, he has done things like Marvel's Spider-Man, Daredevil, and I think there's one other which I'm forgetting. He's a big name in a lot of music I enjoy, and it was great to see him do such a good job with this one. Marcus's music really stood out to me out of all of them. Kara's was also really good though. I believe that was done by a Philip Shepherd, who I had not heard of before, so I took a courtesy of looking at his discography, and I noticed that he hadn't really done anything else that I'd listened to before, so it was a really nice surprise to find a new composer who I really enjoyed the music that they produced. But now let's get on to some problems I have, which comes with certain parts of the story. So the big thing that always stands out to me, mainly at the end, this might be a bit of copium because I wasn't happy with how my Kara route ended, but I do not like the theme of death throughout the game because it's inconsistent. We know that androids can come back, that they can be replaced, they can have memory things, but it never seems to stick. So at the very start of the game, we have the android scared of death. But then we have Connor, who's a prototype, so this sets up a little bit. Oh, he can come back, he's a prototype, he's designed for this. This other android's not. So if the android dies, which it will pretty much always die, I believe, then it can't come back pretty much. And then Connor, if he dies in that first sequence, he can come back no problem. Then we get to Marcus, who we see get shot and essentially destroyed. Then we go back to him and he's in a scrapyard and he replaces biocomponents and he's all better. And that's like the last time we really see death avoided, other than Connor, who is a prototype. And it just makes me wonder, why can't other androids do this? It's never really explained too well in the game from what I can remember. Unless I didn't pick a path which explained it more, but I feel like it should be explained in each path if it's going to be a thing. And of course, some androids do come back for limited time. We have at the club that Hank and Connor go investigate, one of the worker bots can come back for about a minute to be interrogated before shutting down again. We have the same sort of thing, but there's no given time limit with any bots who are put in the investigation evidence locker in the precinct. We just replace a few of their components and suddenly they're back. So why is it when one of our other characters die that isn't Connor, can they not come back again? Unless they're obviously destroyed, but with my car, I'll just say straight what my car ending was. I got a pretty bad ending, only Kara survived. I was crossing the river with the boat to get to Canada, and I tried to accelerate. Alice and Luther got shot. Luther died. Alice was essentially bleeding out. I managed to push the boat to the side, but then Alice shut down, and we just abandoned her. why couldn't we just take the bow with it? I'm sure we could get replacement parts to bring her back. So why did it treat it as though that? It's a very inconsistent thing in the game. Luther, I understand why we left, because I threw him overboard because he was weighing down things. You had to throw down things to be able to push it, else you wouldn't make it, I believe. But Alice could have easily been saved, so I didn't really feel what it wanted me to feel as much, because late that night I was thinking, oh, she can just be saved, so that's my headcanon now, because I am not accepting the sad ending for me. Luther, I am pretty sad but not devastated. Alice, I wanted to get out of there, which has really pissed me off. But yeah, so death's an inconsistent thing throughout the game. Other than that, I don't really play games of this style much, but I do play games where dialogue has consequences, choices, conveys different emotions. And one common thing with any dialogue in games where you're given the short version over the long, which will be most games because not every game's going to be short dialogue. It's not like your Halos or your John Wick movies where the protagonist says very few words a lot of the time. No, if you're picking dialogue, it's going to be long half the time in these games. If you have a dialogue heavy game, it's going to have to condense the choices down to maybe a couple words or a short sentence, or even just one descriptive word, which Detroit Become Human does use. And oftentimes that's misleading because of interpretation. It happened to me a couple times, and it was mainly with, I believe, one was with Connor and one was with Marcus. I don't think I ever had that error with Kara, but Kara segments, there wasn't too much variety in what I could say with the path I chose. So ultimately, it's a flaw in most dialogue heavy games that is sometimes impossible to avoid because everyone has different interpretations. It's how the human brain works. Of course, this isn't really too big of a complaint. I don't play many games of this style, so I might just not be used to it, but to me it's a one-off, so I can accept it. I enjoyed the game for the most part. So yeah, it's a solid game. I would highly recommend it if you haven't. I don't believe it's on sale anymore, but if you do want to play it, or are at least interested, I'd suggest chucking it on the wish list. It's usually available for like £10, £11. Thank you for Isaac, who gifted me it. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. It was a lovely Christmas present. And that's about it. Catch you next time.